Thank you all for coming today, and open it up for any questions that you may have. There are a number of materials as well in your packet, including a brief summary of some of the key highlights that has been condensed. I know we could not get through all of the information that's contained in here. There is also an executive summary that is a green and white piece that also details some of the highlights of the findings. So at this time, I'd like to open it up to any questions that you may have.
Hey, Lisa, you said that this is the most comprehensive study ever done in Ohio. Is this? But you're comparing it to the 06 numbers. So I guess what was the significant difference between the Hunger in America 06 study and this one?
More clients were surveyed in this study than in 2006. About 600 more households were surveyed, a larger representative sample, including being able to drill down on one of our metropolitan areas. As you may know, Mid-Ohio Food Bank serves not only Franklin County but the 19 contiguous counties. They drilled down to the county level as well for a Franklin County survey. Because of the magnitude of this survey, again, it's not just client households that we're surveying. We are also surveying the very agencies that provide emergency food assistance, and those being the emergency food providers of food pantries, soup kitchens, and shelters.
Did you find any area of the state that was particularly hard hit compared to the average?
Excellent question, and I will say that again, the numbers, the findings for the Second Harvest Food Bank of southeastern Ohio are just shocking. That food bank is located in Hocking County. It serves the 10 deep Appalachian counties, and the findings there, highest levels of food insecurity and hunger rates of anywhere in the state. Over 80% of all households surveyed are suffering from very low food security. Another startling finding is that nearly 1 out of 4 households served by the Second Harvest Food Bank of southeastern Ohio report that they are doing their grocery shopping not at full-scale grocery stores that offer a selection of fresh fruits and vegetables, but they're being forced to turn to dollar stores and mom and pop shops. And again, there is a direct correlation between rising hunger rates and growing food deserts in the state. And we are very concerned that many of our families not only lack the resources necessary to purchase food through normal channels, but they also do not have access to, again, full-scale grocery stores offering fresh fruits, vegetables, and protein items.
Are you seeing any leveling off with the demand on food banks, with the economy sort of stabilizing a little bit? I know you guys have saw a peak in activity in the depth of the recession. Now that we're supposedly, at least if we've hit bottom, have you seen leveling off or any change there?
For those of us, our food banks, our 3,000 member charities, have not seen a leveling off, and certainly do not feel as though that the recession has, quote, bottomed out by any means. We are now, quite frankly, at a situation of capacity. When we run out of food, the food pantries and the soup kitchens then are forced to close their doors. And there is no way for us to know how many people come seeking emergency food assistance, but yet find the locked door. We also are seeing that of our pantries, 78% of our food pantries report that they have seen a significant increase in demand for their services since the last hunger study was completed. And more frightening is that more than 1 in 5 of our food pantries indicate that they sometimes or are always forced to stretch what limited food resources that they have in order to meet the client demands. And nearly 1 out of 4 food pantries, 26.4%, unfortunately, had to turn families or clients away due to a lack of food and funding over the past year. There's also information in that PowerPoint that talks directly about the coping strategies that many of our families are using. Turning to a food pantry or a soup kitchen is not the first coping strategy that our families use. They are turning to families and friends. They are borrowing food and money. They are sending their children to family and friends' homes. They are going without, especially the adults, who are reducing and then skipping the size and portion of their meals. I think more troubling is the long-term unemployment and growing wage stagnation. As we looked at the last unemployment data that came out in February, some 76 of Ohio's 88 counties now have unemployment rates above the national average, meaning that there really are insufficient jobs for those that are seeking. Charitable organizations like ours depend heavily on our wonderful partners such as the HealthPath Foundation and many other foundations and corporate grant makers. And a recent report that came out from the Not-for-Profit Finance Fund reported that 80% of the 1,300 charities that they surveyed reported that there had been an increased demand for services, and that 90% of those not-for-profits expected that 2010 would be much worse and more difficult than 2009, as 80% of the not-for-profits not only are expecting a demand and increase for services, but the resources are declining significantly. And for those of you who are in Columbus, the recent announcement last week that United Way had not been able to meet its campaign goal, and it's my understanding that over 2/3 of the United Ways across the state have not achieved their campaign goals this year, which will put further cuts in our ability to provide more resources. In addition, I want to also say that the Not-for-Profit Finance Fund, again, a very large study on the capacity of not-for-profit organizations, reported that the majority of those not-for-profits that they surveyed, some 61%, reported that they had less than 3 months of cash available to continue their operation.